Okay, so first we come to this website, npmjs.com. Okay, so we come here. This is where you are going to get the library React loading skeleton. Okay, that's going to give us the feature we are looking for. So come here and then you first install whether you are using Yarn or npm. Okay, so in my case I'm using npm, so I'll go for the npm. Come here, move to your project, and I just have a simple component here that I'm using the use effect from React. Okay, just fetching from this API here, and then I display it over here. Okay, sure. So this is what you're going to do. We are going to first install our React loading skeleton package here. So just type npm install React loading skeleton, then hit enter. So once this installation is done, we should have it in our package.json file. Okay, good. So we finally have our packages installed. Now let's move back to the docs. And then we know we have to import this, okay, the CSS for the library. Then we import it as a header file here. Okay. Then save, come back and import this. Like that. Okay. Sure. So we now have our skeleton imported here. Let's go ahead and create our first state that's going to handle the loading of the content, so that it's going to be based on that to know whether to load our skeleton or to load the content. So when you have it, okay. So let's create this. This is skeleton loading state. Then we can go ahead and create our state now. So let's call it loading. And then let's set the loading. So by default, our skeleton is loading by default. That's what you're trying to see now. So it's loading until the data gets fetched. So let's go here. When the response comes, we're going to set our loading false. Okay, so we're going to set our loading to false when the response comes, when the data is in. Okay, sure. So you can save this. We can do the same thing here too. Okay, that's if we are displaying the data that's being fetched from this API, and then we are also displaying the data that's being fetched. We can use the same state to handle both use first conditions there. So once we have our state false here, let's come around here. Let's come here and then write our skeleton code here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring this parenthesis here, and then inside semicolon like this. Do this. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. If it's loading, this is the syntax. If it's loading, you're going to render this particular code inside this. So this is skeleton. And then this is what you're going to render if it's loading. And if it's not loading, you're going to render this div. So as simple as that. Okay. So this particular div here is going to run. That's after this skeleton is done running. All right. So once the loading is true by default, this loading state here is true by default. So since it's true by default, what you're going to do is you're going to run the skeleton here. And then once the skeleton is done, the loading is done, and then it turns false here. Because once the data gets fetched, it's going to turn false. And when it's false, this is going to run. Okay. Let's see how this one works. So here we can just decide to increase the duration. And let me show you how. So once we increase the duration is how fast the stripes pass through the skeleton. Okay. So let's say 1. That means it's very fast. Okay. Then we save. And let's go to here. Let's just turn off our internet. And then just refresh. So as you can see, the stripes are passing much faster now. The white stripes are passing much faster on the screen. So can just decide to play with this as much as we can. Can just make this, change the color to, let's see, white. Okay, let's see the highlight color like this. Can just make it white here. Can we just copy it here and just say white and save, and then we can have something like this too. So as you can see, the stripes are passing much faster in the screen. Yeah. And another thing is, once you're here, you can make this one a circle. The first skeleton like this is a circle. So you can just make it 2 circles just by increasing the count. Let's say 2. And then we save. We check it out, and then once we refresh this, you can have this here. So you can style it anyhow you want to style it. You can just decide to just get some other divs closer to the stripes, just to give it a nice row there. Okay, so let me show you something. Once you are here, you can just decide to place all this inside a div like this. And if this is inside a div, you can decide to style that particular div. If this is inside a div like this, you can decide to just style this particular div, give it a class name, give it rounded. Okay, and then let's say give it a background color of, let's say this, just to give it some nicely. Sure. Then you save, and then once this is loading, this whole div is going to run inside the skeleton. Okay, so that means you can place other divs inside, style it the way you want. If you just want some stripes, you can just place them inside these divs, so that once this is loading, this whole thing is loading. Okay, so anyhow you want to design it, you can just do it that way. So just like this, you have this here. So once we have internet, all this is going to disappear. So let's just turn our internet on like this. So that means if the data is being fetched, that means we are done loading it how we want. So once we refresh this and our data is in, all that skeleton is going to disappear, and then this one is going to show. Okay, sure. So that's how simple it can be. This direction is just going to make the stripes come from right to left, and you do it by default is left to right. So you can just give the direction so that it moves the stripes from the right side to the left side, just like we have here. Just like we have here, coming from the right side to the left side. While we can see this come from the right side to the left, while you can see this one, the stripes are coming from the left to the right. Okay, sure. So that's, you can use sharing styles way. So if you have any other thing you want to do with it, you go to their site, you can go through their documentation, and then just know what you want to do with it. Just a highlight color, you can change the base color, and then you can change the weight, you can change the height, the border radius, you can change so many styles. The duration it takes for the animation to work. Okay, you can also change that. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.